Good morning, people. And how are everybody doing on this lovely morning? It is cold and wet and windy in the Cape, like winter should be. Unfortunately, by the looks of things, with predictions, it's only going to be for today, and tomorrow is going to be chilly, and the rest of the weekend is going to be pretty cold, but it's not going to be rainy. We need rain right now at the moment. So, right, today I am chatting to someone that I found again via Instagram. Douglas from Splitting Image Taxidermy. And why taxidermy, you would probably ask, is, and as I say in the description, I see taxidermy as an amazing art form. It is not an easy job to do what these guys are doing, and I want to find out a little bit about that. And if you appreciate animals, you don't need to be a hunter to appreciate good taxidermy. Most of the museums and everybody uses taxidermists to do the mounts that they display. And often those animals that you see in a museum would have been hunted by trophy hunters. So, yeah, right. I'm just waiting for Douglas to join. Then we're going to take it further. But again, I hope to see you guys. If there's any questions, please ask them. Don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss out on the future ones. I've got a couple I'm busy planning. Yeah, so right now let's just get Douglas to come in. Right, Douglas will be in a second. How are you guys finding my setup that I've got here? I've been using StreamYard now for just over a week or so, and I found it really easy to work with. I really want to do a whole bunch of other live streams just to get time to do it because things are basically back to full swing at the moment. So I'm slotting these things in when there is time available to do so. But right, any feedback from you guys would be highly appreciated. Douglas is just having a bit of an issue on his side. He just sent me a WhatsApp now. He should be on shortly. As always, as it has happened here before, the gremlins creep into the system right when you are supposed to start working. So, yeah. So, I presume everybody's back to work. Everything is running almost normal. There is a new normal in the world at the moment. Now, so what can I entertain you guys with? I'm not going to be singing because that just won't work. I've got enough rhythm to knock on a door, not enough to sing, unfortunately. Right, while we wait for Douglas to come in, just busy sorting out, I just want to test something and see if I can share their website on here for you guys to see. Okay, right, let's see how this works. Right, here we go. That is one stunning intro on a website. Right, let's go. Let me show you guys a couple of the the stuff that I've noticed. And like I said, I found them through Instagram. And what has been really interesting for me is the way that Doug and them has been marketing their work. So often you'll see the guys on social media, and it will just be a simple cell phone photo, and you can, well, not that I'm a photographer, but you can see when it's a cell phone photo. You can see when people has actually taken the effort to produce something worthy of sharing. So let me quickly go on there and just go into Trophy Gallery, and not that it's the photography is just simply amazing. Just get this to load up. Look at that. The lighting, everything is just absolutely spot on and perfect. You can even see the horns glistening. It is. I love it when there's attention to detail like this, especially in photography, because the people spending the money with that some of these people are spending is you would want to spend it with a company that you can see is going to give you the very, very best product possible. Just look at that. Beautiful. Now this is something now. Look at that. That thing looks real. If you would walk into a room at night and this was delivered the day before, you didn't know about it, you will absolutely get the fright of your life. Absolutely amazing work. Yeah, so that's some of the stuff that I want to chat about, and got some questions. Amazing fight scene created between two jackal and a caracal. All right, looks like Douglas is here. Good morning.
Morning, how are you?
All right, and you?
I'm very well. Sorry, we had a bit of a technical glitch going on with a power failure, but we're back in action.
Is your camera switched on?
Let me have a look. There we go.
There we go. There we go. There we go. That's better. At least now I know who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Thank you again for coming to join me today. It's awesome. I really appreciate everybody that takes the time to come and join me for these chats.
Absolutely, no problem at all.
Yeah. So, how have you guys been during this whole lockdown thing?
Adjusting as best we can, I think, is the only way to put it. Yeah, it's a new era, it's a new time, it's a new way of dealing with things. So from the offset, there's been uncertainty, and there's uncertainty today. So we've just become more accustomed to the uncertainty, I think.
Yeah, and has this thing given you time to catch up on some unfinished work? Because I know you guys are extremely busy, along with some of the other taxidermy guys as well. I know the guys sometimes have a long lead time, so I presume this has given you some time to catch up on some of the orders.
That's the theory. Coming back with the 30% staff, with the manufacturing falling under the manufacturing kind of banner. As much as we've got time to catch up, we have fewer staff to come back with. That was initially. Secondly, our problem isn't now. The taxidermy industry, just by the way we do the business, we're 8 months behind the rest of the industry, the hunters and the guys who deal with the raw trophies. So our problem is still coming. Our storm is still only going to hit us probably, I would say, December, January, February, March. It's that time where if we don't have work coming in, the revenue stream will very quickly dry up, like many other businesses have experienced now.
Yeah. But unfortunately, the travel is not open yet, but the local hunters can start operating.
Absolutely. We had 2 hunters come in this morning. Obviously, they had a good weekend and brought the trophies in this morning. So we are seeing work coming in. But again, the model of the business has been based upon the international hunters who come out and shoot in volume. It's not that we're an international hunter above a South African hunter by any means. But the volume of trophies that an international hunter will shoot on his 10-day safari compared to the South African hunter who'll go out and go and shoot a blessed buck or a kudu over a weekend. It's a scale thing.
And then also hulle draai hulle rand en sente to not spend too much on a trophy, because the chance of shooting like a Roland Ward kudu on a weekend is pretty slim. So if they do, they've got to put their cents together to be able to afford a good quality trophy.
Well, yes and no. This is the silver lining in this whole mess that we're going through. Because we haven't had the start or any international hunting coming through, you're dealing with a lot of landowners who've got stocked farms, ranches that were ready to hunt. They need to manage their numbers in order to, the saying is, if you want to farm properly, farm the soil. So they're farming the soil, they're looking after the game numbers. And there are landowners that are giving good rates to South African hunters to come and hunt. And because no one has shot through the rut and no one's taking off the premium stock, we're seeing South African guys getting great quality trophies at a reasonable price. But like you said, that they still have to turn a penny a few times.
Yeah. Right. So one of the big questions I've got for you is that how did you start? Because you don't kick a taxidermist out behind every single bush in the veld. So it's definitely a very niche trade. So how did you get into being a taxidermist?
I've always had a very strong passion about eating and feeding myself. So I'd love to tell you that there's some romantic story about, as a child, I used to shoot starlings and spurs, and I'd stuff them with my mum's cotton wool. But that's not the case. I did grow up in hunting family with a lot of respect around wildlife. I did have very good exposure to the hunting industry, but I moved across from a photographic industry. I spent time at Shamari Game Reserve and guided there for numerous years. I spent time in East Africa, did walking safaris up there, and then wanted to move into something where I had the opportunity for family, and that meant engaging in something that didn't take me away and into the field as much, but I was allowed to express a slightly artistic side that was coming to the surface. I got an opportunity after 9/11 when I had 8 safaris booked through other outfitters as a professional hunter. I was a PH as well.
Okay.
And all the clients cancelled because of 9/11. And as a result, I was in a position where I had no income, no hunts, and all the hunts that were coming in were given to the more senior guides, which I was not.
Yeah.
And one of the clients who came through was a taxidermist. And after spending time together, I did a very brief education in taxidermy with him. And then I've pretty much been working at the apprenticeship since then. And that was, as I said, it was 9/11. So we're coming on 20 years later.
Okay. And when did you start your own business?
2004.
Okay.
I moved away, started my own business. I had an idea of how I'd like the service around taxidermy to work. There's some incredible taxidermists out there. There really are. There are artists that I look up to, aspire to, guys that have the most remarkable gift when it comes to sculpting and working with skin. But like a lot of people who are artists, they may lack on the business side of things. I found I was quite lucky that I had a reasonable balance between business acumen, sales, and the artistic side of things. So that was one of the reasons for moving across, I suppose, and trying.
Well, like I said in a little intro before you came on, is that one of the things that caught my attention when I found you guys on, it was on Instagram the first time, is that the photography. And with you saying that you've got a background in photography is really cool. I'm a photographer by trade, so stuff like that catches my attention. And the people that is sending their trophies to you, I can tell you now, just the photography alone will bring in more business for your. And I'm pretty sure you've seen that than what a normal cell phone pic will do for other guys.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm in a position now where through this lockdown with all the other taxidermists, it would be something I'd say to them if they said, "Hey, Doug, what can we do to improve our businesses?" I'd tell them, take better pictures.
Yes.
Really, take the time, take a great quality photograph of your client's trophy. It shows respect. It shows respect to the animal, shows respect to the hunter. And it is, just from a plain marketing perspective, it's good marketing. Truly is.
So what is your photography setup there? Because you've got some good lighting on there. So I presume you've got some good studio equipment at your workshop?
Absolutely, yeah. We've got a full photographic studio. Is permanently lit with various backdrops. We can take photographs from pretty much a 360-degree vertically and horizontal perspective. So we're very fortunate in that regard. We have a space that accommodates photography really, really, really well.
And how have you found that your videos that you put out? Because that's all, that obviously when I started following you, I started picking up the videos in your stories and the Instagram TV stuff. Has that brought a lot of prospective clients your way? Because it's really interesting stuff.
No, absolutely. It's about trying to create engaging and authentic content. One thing I had to try and get used to is that in my ears, I sound absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sure in what you do, you're used to plugging in and listening to it. But I had to get over the fact that I sound terrible to myself and just realize that I'm talking to an audience. All I want to do is I want to share something that we're passionate about. I want to try and give you insight into this industry in South Africa and show people that we really, really have something spectacular to offer.
And I see on your website that you've joined up with a bunch of taxidermists overseas, and then you also do international people's work here in South Africa. So I presume there's quite a few people that send their work. Like, haven't you done ibexes and wild boars and stuff?
Yeah, we've had some very interesting ones, from polar bears to some of the most valuable trophies on the planet. We've been very privileged to have worked on them, but there's something really special about a young boy who comes in and he's got his first impala, little spike horn. He hunted with his dad, and he walks away and puts a shield mount on his wall. There's a level of appreciation from kids that is unparalleled.
And okay, we know that the hunting industry is a very controversial subject, and it's because people are not informed correctly.
Absolutely.
Do you ever get to, when you go to a braai and there's new people and they ask you, what do? You said, no, I stuff dead animals. You get people that look at you funny, or is it a good conversation starter?
Well, my wife's looked at me funny for a long time. So
yeah, I wanted to ask about that also.
I got lucky. I found the one girl on the planet who she can't smell, so she has her olfactory was damaged, and as a result, she can't smell a thing. So for a taxidermist, when you're dealing with a raw skeleton and a raw skull, it was quite appealing. It worked out well in my favor. But all the jokes aside, I'm sorry, I lost track there, but jokes aside, we're very fortunate to be able to pass on very good information to the clients, to the market. And the hope is that when I do engage with someone at a braai, over a drink, and someone meets me, I can pass on a good message. And I can give them the opportunity to choose what they believe. Because most of the angst and the misconception around hunting comes from miseducation.
Yeah.
Hunters are outdoors people. They don't always embrace technology. That's why something like this, for me, to sit and chat to someone and hopefully share something positive with someone who's listening, this is an absolute privilege. We need to educate people and not brainwash them, but give them the opportunity to make their own decisions with the correct information.
Yeah, I've had back in 2017, I was on my first buffalo hunt that I filmed, and it was an absolute amazing experience. It was, yeah, I'm pretty sure you've been on a buffalo hunt as well. It's just something that you can't describe to anybody the feeling of being in a veld with that animal alive, looking at you. It's a totally different feeling. So when we got the animal, we got the pictures, obviously, and I put a picture of it on my Facebook profile. And there was a couple of comments and this way and that, nothing too hectic. And then I got an inquiry from somebody to photograph an event for them. It was like a birthday event or something like that. And everything was ready to go. I was about to send the invoice through, and she sent a message back saying, listen, I see that you support trophy hunting. I'm not going to be using you for the function anymore. Thanks so much. And look, it's like a kick in the teeth. You don't. It's not nice to lose work over something as, I wouldn't say stupid as that. But I sent a message back. I said, Paul, I'm sorry that I'm not going to be able to help you anymore. But if you want to chat about it, I'll gladly share the knowledge I have about hunting and trophy hunting with you, and then you can make up your mind about that. I'm not. It's not that I'm upset or anything, but I would gladly share the knowledge. And she just never came back to me about that.
But you see, that's often the case, though. You're given the opportunity to not tell someone they're wrong, but to offer them a different perspective, and purely because they actually have no retort to that. They don't have the knowledge on hunting. They're merely reacting based on an emotional Disney kind of feel, Lion King and all that. And it's that we need to change. that's where we need to get involved and learn how to communicate with a greater audience the good that hunting does, and be real about it. We're not going to change everyone. That's just the way it is. We're not. But we are in a position where if we use the tools at our disposal, and I'm very lucky, taxidermy is a phenomenal tool to use to teach people and create a learning experience. We've got to realize we're not going to turn everybody, but we certainly can show them a different perspective of what hunting is about to us.
Yes. Well, look at with all the outfitters that I've worked with and lodges and everybody, it's a business, so obviously it needs to make money. But these guys are not; they're not running into the bush and shooting every second thing that moves. They do it with a strategy in mind.
Absolutely. But how do we share that knowledge? I mean, what you're saying, being on the hunt and filming the hunt, being on a hunt is one thing. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes and sort of think, what's it like to hide behind the camera? Not hide behind it and to hide, but to be behind the camera. Because I can remember doing walking safaris in Kenya, and quite often tourists ended up getting so trapped behind the lens, they forgot to put the camera down and live in the moment. And there were times where you sort of look at them and go, they don't actually realize how close that lion is, because all they're interested in is what they see in the frame of the camera. So I think filming a buffalo hunt must be another totally different experience, and yet more that you could teach people and pass on to people who are willing to listen.
Yeah, well, the one I did last year, and I'll send you the video afterwards, so you can have a look and see what we did. Is that because I'm filming? Is that I got to keep 5 things in my mind. The first thing is I can't be in the way. I need to be quiet. I need to get my frame, the shot I want. I need to get the experience of the hunter. So while we're sneaking up, you can see the buffalo standing there. I need to get a shot of the guy walking. I need to get a shot of his rifle over his shoulder, looking at the animal. All these things are going through my mind. So when that buffalo fell, it's like, okay, now I'm standing there and my heart is thumping in my ears, and it's only then that I realize, oh shit, this was quite exciting actually. So say again, sorry.
You kind of come back to life. You come back into the moment.
Yes, and I had the same experience, or the best way I could describe. I've looked at a lot of people doing photojournalists, like in war areas. I like to watch those kind of documentaries, and one of them said that the camera is like a barrier between you and what's actually happening. It's Absolutely. Like you're looking through a screen at the action going on. So that is like that separates you from the reality, yet you are in the moment. And the first time I experienced that was with the birth of my first daughter. I photographed everything. So from them doing the whole cesarean and with her coming out and the whole thing. And the first time I felt emotion was when I put the camera down, when I had to cut her umbilical cord. And it was like it was like a bucket of water just hit you. And that's the same with being a photographer on these things. It's
exactly the same.
It is, the adrenaline rush is just as big for me to get that particular shot as it is for the hunter to get their dream animal.
Absolutely. And people don't always see that side of the industry. They don't see the side of how many pieces of the puzzle come together to make that moment come true.
And the one I filmed last year, which I'll send you, is the gentleman that came over, Uncle Pat. I hope he's well. He's an awesome guy. He hunted in Africa in 1989 and in 91 again. He had a terrible experience in 91, and he said he'll never ever come back to Africa. So now 2019, going back to 1991. So how many years is that? A lot. He had a rifle built for his hunt in 91 that wasn't finished, that he used for the first time coming back now. And when he shot that buffalo, he cried like a little boy. It was, I promise you, it was I, I get a lump in my throat just thinking about it. He literally had he was crying like a little boy when he shot that animal.
You know what? And again, it's not for everybody.
No.
And we're fine with that. But those moments are what as guides, cameramen, taxidermists, it's what makes what we do so special. We don't go on one hunt every year. We go on hundreds. We live so many moments through what we do creatively. I think to take it a step further, you're behind the camera. There's less emotion behind the camera. The taxidermy, when it's finished, is as memory and emotion provoking as a beautifully taken photograph. So when the photograph comes out and you look back at the photograph and you relive that moment, that's exactly the kind of emotion that we're putting back into taxidermy.
Yes.
So it's the ultimate prop in a fantastic story. And that's ultimately what we're doing. We're creating props.
I saw that video of yours on YouTube. I had a quick stalk through there before this chat, but taxidermy has come a long way from what it used to be. From if you go back into like the first time that I really saw taxidermy was in the South African Museum, which is now the Iziko Museum here in Cape Town, where they've got the room with all the animals, and that was in 1988. I was in there the first time, if I remember correctly, and that displays are still there exactly like it is now. When I go back there now, I take my kids now. It is that you can see the trophies are old. There's hair slip happening, all that kind of stuff, and then the new ones that they've got in the newer displays it's not the animal just standing there looking straight forward. It is like these in action moments where it's a lion killing impala, for instance. And tell me about those things. How do you do the client tell you, listen, I want this lion to get an impala, or they come to you and says, Doug, you've got complete creative freedom, do whatever you want to this, just make it look spectacular?
From an artistic perspective, if we're given free rein, it's an opportunity to express yourself.
Yeah.
That's a gift for the artistic team that we've got. Our approach is to go from the space where they want to present it, then we go back to concept, and we build the concept from there. I'll give you an example. There was a client who has a particularly dramatic and impressive trophy room. It's big. It's by no means. He wanted to do something very special on top of his bar. So he has a corner unit bar, and he has this void up in the corner that it kind of just looked like a shadowed out space, but so many people would approach the bar that he felt it was being underutilized. So we reconstructed a bar out of pine in the factory. So we had the area that we were working on. We then mounted a full giraffe with 2 lions attacking it. The one lion was leaning over the edge of the bar, pulling backwards, pulling the giraffe. The other lion was on the back leg, pulling the back leg in the opposite direction, down into the trophy room. So when you sat at the bar stool and you looked up, all you saw was this gnarly looking lion pulling a whole giraffe down over the edge. It was weighted like it looked like this giraffe was going to come toppling over the edge of these lions at any minute. It was spectacular. It was an absolute nightmare getting it up there, but it was spectacular. So those kind of projects, the gentleman was incredibly happy with it. It's a wonderful opportunity to do something. He also had budget on his side. He wasn't worried about the cost. And there are cost implications. It takes a long time, a lot of people, a lot of planning, a lot of thought to come up with these creations. So, yeah. There are because I suppose you could say.
Doug, you there?
Sorry.
There you go. No worries. But how do you, because those molds are all custom made for that particular mount. So that must be crazy amounts of effort, because especially with animals, you need to know the anatomy of a lion to the T to recreate the muscles and the nails and everything.
We live in a very good time for taxidermy in that any information that you want is on the internet. We can call up the most beautiful photographs. I remember when I was working in East Africa, in Kenya, taking photographs, everything was still on 35mm, and to get quality photographs was very difficult. Now, you go into Shutterstock and you find, yes, you're going to buy them, but you can print them. And all over my studio, there's pictures that we've printed, massive, where the artist can look at these animals, they can look at the poses, the turns. Whenever we bring animals in, we often stop work and the guys all get involved with skinning. We look at the animal's anatomy. We have anatomy classes. I've invested huge amounts of money in anatomy books. I've got books of pretty much everything we need. There are certain staff who've been with the company for a long time that are very proficient at the sculpting side of taxidermy, which is the foundation of creating these sort of things. So those guys would focus on those bigger projects. We also have a continuous training program where we bring in new staff, and we're looking for the next great talent. That's the key to longevity of a taxidermy business. Always look for the next great talent. And where we're at the moment, we've got some wonderful guys and girls working for us, and the next tier is already coming through. So back to COVID, what we're finding is very useful. Because we're not as busy as previously, we're now using the time to teach and train and upskill a lot of our staff. So they're getting the opportunity to improve on their skill set, which is, it's also pretty cool to see their evolution going through.
No, that's amazing. It's just some of these things are that's what I think is what fascinates me, is when I look at these things, is that there's a lot of time and effort and to make this thing look real, because it is so easy to stuff that thing up.
And both literally and the pun intended, I suppose. We do stuff animals from time to time. Dewald, it's a privilege to work with these animals. It really is, and the stories that come with them, some of that are just crazy.
Yeah, I can very well imagine. Now, do the hunters come into your showroom and come and look at some of the stuff? Because last time we were supposed to stop at Highveld on our way back to the airport, we ran out of, so we couldn't.
Absolutely.
So they do come in, and then they come and chat to you about what's available, all that kind of stuff.
We've turned things around a little bit, where traditional taxidermists, you'd walk into a beautiful showroom, lovely trophies everywhere, and sit down, talk things through, and then if you want to go and have a look, you can go and have a look at a bit of what the guys are doing. We've turned it around completely. Our showroom and the offices are right at the back of the factory, as far back as you can go. Every client who walks into the actual heart of where we do client work. We can produce showroom pieces that are breathtaking and meticulous. There's not a hair out of place. But clients don't shoot meticulous trophies with hair out of place. They shoot things with stars, and they shoot them a little far back, and the ballistics takes the shoulder out. And occasionally you've got to use a bit of magic to make those things dissolve and disappear. We want them to see what our clients' work looks like. The people who've invested their hard-earned money in having us complete their work, that is what sells the business, not the showroom. The showroom is where you come. We've got bathrooms, great coffee, and the ladies have a credit card machine if you really feel like paying right now.
But that's amazing. What gave you that idea to do it? Did you think about that, or is it something that somebody mentioned to you somewhere? How did you? Because that is a brilliant concept of selling your work.
I didn't have enough money to build a showroom. I wish I had some reason. I didn't. We stumbled across it, and I realized how much value there was in letting people become a part of other people's experiences and seeing the team work, seeing us actually doing the work. I've got a firm belief that there's no secrets anymore. The internet has everything you want. in the past, I remember guys would kind of wonder what their competitors' price lists were for the year. I want to see where I'm going to place myself, and I'm going to play the price game this year. I want to see where my competitors are. If my competitors want my price list, the easiest thing you can do, pick up the phone me, and give me your email address. I'll send you my price list, because we're all pretty much the same. And what you charge needs to be backed up by the service and the quality of the animal, which I truly believe at Splitting Image, certainly we have got that balance right.
Yeah, no, it's that's the biggest thing. The same within the photography industry. If you look at wedding photographers, for instance, you can kick them out behind every second bush on the internet. It's like there is way too much of them. But every now and again, you'll get an email and you look at it and you say, oh, well, this looks fishy. And then with the wonderful thing of Facebook, you can actually go look for them. And then you say, oh, this is a photographer trying to get my prices. So again, like you said, email me and tell me, Dewald, what do you charge for a wedding? I said, well, this is what I charge for it.
It's very easy, really is. And it actually builds the network even better, because at the end of the day, there are ways we can work together and benefit one another. There's always going to be an animal another taxidermist has done that I haven't worked on, and vice versa. I might have worked on a new mannequin. I worked on a new honey badger mannequin quite recently, and it came out really well. We were lucky that we had the whole carcass, the skeleton, so we were able to do death pass. We were able to sculpt it from literally bare bones, and it came out beautifully. Really a great piece. So we're sitting with a very, very good, in my opinion, a very good honey badger mannequin. So that's the thing. If someone wanted a honey badger mannequin for a project, hey, here you go. Here's one. You can mount it. I'd love to help you out. We need to learn to collaborate more, I believe.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Now that just a question on that. So that mannequin, is it something that is shapeable to different things, or is it just a straightforward honey badger that they can cast a mold from, or how does that work?
So it's a very standard pose. I've always believed every mannequin we've got starts with a very standard, straightforward pose. From there, the artists have the ability to alter, turn, shape, and size those mannequins to fit the skin. Every single mannequin does get altered, shaped, and sized. Every single one, without fail. So as long as you have very good base mannequins, from there you can always scale them out and work on them. And over time, the mannequins get tired. The molds tend to lose shape because of
I presume that you've got a big freezing room at your facility as well, because like you said, sometimes people send you the whole animal. So like the picture I used for where you've got the giraffe neck skeleton mount, I presume they ship that whole thing to you. So you must have a freezer room where you can store these things in.
We've got multiple freezers and freezer rooms, but where the trophies are concerned, we actually collect every single trophy. So our outfitters, not one of our outfitters that support Splitting Image Taxidermy, actually deliver their trophies to our facility. Not one. We collect every single trophy at the outfitters' lodges, in the field. It's quite literally a 5-day turnaround in normal circumstances, COVID aside. It's a 5-day turnaround. Doug, we've got a shipment of trophies. Please collect it. Whether it's 5 or 50, one of the Skull Squad is going to go out there and they're going to go and pick it up.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's and even if it's up in the north of Limpopo, right on the edge of the Zimbabwe, you go and fetch it. Right
to the border, left, right, up, down, Kalahari, Durban, past the Banana Boys, all the way down, Transkei, you name it. Free State, Kimberley.
Because I spoke to Warwick and trying to set this all up. Is that why you went to Kimberley yesterday?
He's on a collection at the moment.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's absolutely because
so yeah, things are moving.
All the guys that I've worked with and chatted for previously, they take the stuff to the taxidermist.
Different approach. It starts at the beginning where I just said it's easier if I come to your facility, I'll load it up there, I'll make your life a little bit easier, and if there's any problems with the trophies, let's sort them out at the source. Once they get back to my family, it's back and forth. So the guys who do the collections are all very well trained to be able to look at skins and go, there's a problem over there. Let's resolve this now while we're standing in front of each other so that the client ultimately gets the very best quality trophy he can.
And do you give training to skinners on game farms?
Yes. We've got a program that works pretty well because of distance between, let's say, guys in Northern Cape or up north. We actually have 2 guys that are very, very good skinners. They'll travel to the farm under the skinning facilities. They will teach at the outfitter's skinning facility, and then they just drive back. It's not a money-making venture by any means, but there is cost involved to get the staff there with our vehicles. So we just ask them to cover a rate to get them there. And each of those guys gets paid a set daily rate. That money goes into their pockets directly, effectively their own micro business within Splitting Image Taxidermy, and given them the opportunity to better themselves along the way.
Well, that's clever, because you know that you're going to get the very best product to create the best piece for the client. If you know that people are trained perfectly or correctly, because I've seen these guys work, and it's to watch a skinner work is the same as watching a tracker work. It's a masterpiece. It's a very, very difficult thing to do right.
You know, it's same as a butcher. You watch these guys who are able to work a carcass properly. It's an absolute masterful craft. It's amazing. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So how often do you go hunting?
I used to go up a lot more. Before the business grew and we expanded like we have, I was the one who actually did all the driving around, thousands upon thousands of kilometers and thousands of rands with the chiropractor fixing my back. Now Warwick has to pay for the chiropractor because his back is taking the hammering. But we've got quite a few guys who do the collections. So we've got guys who go in different directions. They've got different routes. I still go up and spend time with clients. I still go up and spend time with outfitters, purely to engage with them, plan orders. If an outfitter in Northern Cape says, I've got an important client, I'd love you to meet him, we can't get to you, I jump in the vehicle, drive up, go and have a lovely meal in the lodge, spend time with the client, see how we can help them, catch up with the outfitter, and I love the open road. I enjoy the drive. It's good for the mind, and off we go. Yeah.
And do you do any of the overseas shows that used to be there?
And we hope return. We do hope they return. Yes, I've been going to the show since 2000, and been a tremendous opportunity to learn about the American culture, about the German culture. We have a very good standing at the shows. We're there in support of agents and outfitters, and we meet up with old and new clients throughout the stay that's over there.
I've got a question about those shows, and there's a young gentleman that's here from my hometown, Worcester. He started up something now where he's marketing more to outfitters. I wouldn't say to get him to spend less money on doing shows, but to market more digitally.
Absolutely.
Have you? Okay, obviously the scene has changed through the years in terms of business. And over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, things are going digital. Are you still getting in a lot of clients from the shows that you do? And if you look at your return on investment, the money you spend putting out the great videos, great photography, versus the money you spend going to these shows, setting up, exporting the trophies there, that whole thing. Which one is bringing in more money for you at the moment?
Keeping in mind, I've been going to the shows for 20 years. And I've never had a booth. Not once.
So you never had a?
I've never had a booth.
Oh, okay. So you stand at an outfitter's booth.
I've never had a booth. I've spent time over there supporting outfitters, supporting agents, and visiting with clients.
Okay.
I'm in support of the industry. As a taxidermist, my business model is different. I feel that the US taxidermists are at an extreme advantage by having their work down the road, by having brand new mannequins for every single piece that they've got, and they can literally take a few months to create that masterpiece that they put on at the shows. We still have to get it shipped there, and the cost implications, and mathematically for me, it didn't make sense. So I've just avoided having a booth and have not had a booth for 20 years. Win or lose, it's worked well enough for us. And
Okay.
yeah, that's it. Most of the guys around the show will know me from the bright orange shoes that they'll see running around. Literally, there's a reason I wear them. I like orange, and secondly, I run around a lot. So we spend time between the outfitters and make sure that they have everything that they need in order to do their jobs effectively.
Okay, so you visit the South African outfitters that's at these shows.
Correct.
Oh, I did a similar exercise last year because a lot of my work that I do is in the agricultural sense. So I went to Nampo, which was here in the Cape, and
yeah.
I literally went there and got business cards from people exhibiting there to market to them.
It's a client base. You have a captive audience. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, because the way I see it, those guys are all standing there looking for business from clients. And when I said to them, listen, I am actually looking for your business, it completely mind boggles them a little bit. Why is somebody here? So you leave an impression with someone when
Absolutely.
You do that.
I don't think it's for everybody.
Yeah.
I think if your sales approach is less, I don't want to say aggressive, not that my sales approach is aggressive, but we've got a very simple philosophy. I will always go the extra mile. I might not be the best taxidermist, but art is subjective, but I can certainly outwork most people and just keep going. I think any successful business, that's the one key trait. You just have to keep going. No matter how tough it gets, you've just got to keep going.
How was it when you got your first big order from an outfitter, when you just started your business and the first big order came in?
It was awesome. I remember his name. His name was Darwin Lamb. Darwin was an elderly gentleman, and I'd never met him. But through the outfits that I had a relationship with, they literally threw me a bone and gave me a chance. It was the first order that Splitting Image Taxidermy did. And it was a big order. There must have been close on 18 animals. It was good. I remember the deposit coming into the bank account, and I'd never had that much money, ever, in any bank account of mine. I looked at this and I thought, this is fantastic. But then I spent it quite quickly buying all the stock, and I ran out of money. So I needed to get the next guy. But I can remember it clearly. Darwin Lamb was his name, and that's kind of one of the starting blocks. It's a good memory, it really is.
Have you ever reached out to him and asked him for pictures of that first job you did?
I have pictures of the first mounts that I personally did. They're in a very, very dark corner of a safe, and the safe's location is undisclosed. Yeah, I'm going to leave them there. I believe I personally mastered the art of turning a bushbuck into a bush pig in 4 hours. It was a remarkable stint. Darwin passed away, already an elderly gentleman at that stage, and he passed away. One of the sayings that he said, son, I don't buy green bananas. And he meant it, because he did pass away about 5 years after he got to work. And again, that was the time before digital photography was a lot easier. So unfortunately, I don't have pictures of his work, but I do have pictures of some of my first work, and it will remain hidden for a long time.
Well, it's and your photography. Do you still do photography apart from in the studio at your office?
I have three of the most wonderful subjects to photograph as often as I can. All three of them are my daughters. One who's 4, one who's 6, one who's 16, and they're constantly being photographed, running around doing silly things. As far as wildlife's concerned, pictures, sunsets, I love to see. I'm an avid surfer. I enjoy spending time in the water a lot. It's the one place where all men and women are equal, because the wave does not care. But wildlife photography, I haven't had as much opportunity to get back into that as I would like. But when we do spend time on hunting farms or game reserves, obviously with my contacts with the photographic industry, we're still able to visit these places. Then I enjoy taking a couple of photographs. But I relish seeing so many talented people taking amazing photographs, and Instagram is a great medium to catch up on these. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's this with being in the Cape is difficult because we haven't got access to really good wildlife. You need to travel up country, Kalahari. There's a couple of game breeders in the area, but it's not the same. It's not that a golden wildebeest is not as pretty as old Duggar boy in the Kruger.
And you know what? The old Duggar boy, he needs the dust to be stomping under his feet, coming up in that golden hour about the dust and something about the dust. And, you know, it's all of those aspects that make for a great photograph. So it's a privilege. Yeah. I was very fortunate. Every time we were guiding in the Mara in Serengeti, I spent a great deal of time behind the camera and guiding. I saw some of the most incredible wildlife spectacles this planet has to offer. I'd love to see polar bears. I'd love to spend more time going and see gorillas and various other species. But in terms of African plains game, East Africa has something very special to offer. And I was very lucky to see it.
Yeah, I spoke to a wildlife photographer early on in my series, Keith Connelly. If I remember correctly, he also started at Shamwari.
He worked there 1999 to 2000, 98 to 2000.
Okay, so you know Keith.
I know the name. I do know the name. One time I was in Kenya. He was at Shamwari. He took a lot of the photographs for Shamwari there, I think, for one of their books. If it's the same that I'm thinking of.
Yeah, probably is. Now, I did Keith's wedding a couple of years ago, and it was an amazing party. But Keith is based up in Uganda at the moment, and they're moving to Tanzania shortly. His wife works for the international school, so she's a teacher, and he's got access to you. Looks like we lost Doug there. Let's just see. I think so I was picking up some sound issues on my side. I'm not sure if everybody else was getting the same issues. Let's see what's going on. Just give me a second. Let me see if I can get him on again. Okay, it looks like Doug is back. Yo, you back? Doug, can you hear me?
Sorry, a bit of a cut in connection.
No worries. Your voice was crackling quite a bit at the end there, and then you were just gone.
Faded away.
Yeah. Look, we can probably chat about photography and taxidermy and hunting for the rest of the week. Is there any other ventures that you are busy with at the moment apart from the taxidermy?
at the moment, our focus has been drawn in purely around taxidermy and the services around taxidermy. We've got a couple of really good apparel ranges that we've been asked to get behind. US range that is very similar to Kuyu, also tactical kind of gear. Obviously, with our client exposure, the company's come on board and asked us to get behind them. It's called Numa. Really great quality gear, so we've got involved with that. Couple of other things, gun sleeves and travel bags. That's always been part of what we do for clients, for their orders. We're actually taking that into a more retail zone and moving towards an e-commerce site on that. We've always had very good furniture offerings. We do a lot of trophy room design and then also manufacture the furniture to fit the space, making it authentic. From an art perspective, we're not just embracing taxidermy as an art form, we're embracing sculpture and bronze. We've got a fantastic in-house artist who does the most remarkable oils and pencil. She's really added another dynamic level to the art that we present to the clients. So that all fits into the mix, but it's all about, it's a lateral integration. There's nothing outside of taxidermy and trophy management that we do for clients, and our focus is very much on how we can improve the whole experience for both hunters as well as wildlife enthusiasts who see our work in museums and are starting to engage with us on that sort of thing.
Yeah, I've always said that there's a whole bunch of people that will not put a kudu mount up in the house. They might put a kudu skull up, and then you get those that will put an art piece of a kudu skull up in the house.
Bronzed or polished or scrimshaw. There's a lot of ways of presenting, and we're really trying to embrace the newer generation who's not necessarily looking for the whole trophy room, but is looking for reminders of their experiences.
And what have you got at your house?
An Nguni skin.
Nguni skin. I saw that video of yours with I think it was a Lechwe full mount. Is that yours?
That's mine. It's in the showroom right here. Yeah, I've had the privilege of hunting a couple of what I believe to be great trophies. They're not great in terms of tape measure, but they're great in terms of wonderful experience and good old animals. I believe in the responsible way of controlling our populations. And they're in our showroom. And I'm as proud of putting my own work on display as I would be putting clients' work on display. I didn't tell the team what to do with that lecture. They said, we're going to do something that's very cool for you, and would you mind we do what we want to do? And I said, go for it. Have fun. So that's in the showroom. But at home, quite literally, I like modern lines in our home. I like lots of glass, and my home is very, very simple in most respects. I have an Nguni skin in front of the fireplace, and yeah, I think that's actually the only dead thing other than what's in my freezer.
It is often weird. It's like people ask me every time when they find out I'm a photographer, you must have beautiful pictures of your kids. I said, well, I've got about 3,000 on this thing, but I've only photographed them like 5 or 6 times in the whole thing. Is because by the time they're done, by the time I'm done putting a lens on the camera and a memory card that's clean and all that kind of stuff, whatever they were busy doing that was cute is all over.
And then you still got to edit them and clean them and then save them on an extra hard drive. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and then it feels like work. It's not an enjoyable thing. It's like bringing work home if you're in an office job or whatever the story is.
I was out yesterday. I've got a farm outside Port Elizabeth where we run the dip and pack and the raw processing from. So the studio in Port Elizabeth is very clean. There's no smell. I've always lived in a place where kids and families would come and visit and not walk around holding their noses going, it smells. So we actually have a completely separate business that does raw processing and dip and pack based on the farm. So I was out there working with the team yesterday, and we've got too many impala running around. So my father-in-law was with me, and he's got a wonderful new rifle that hasn't seen any action yet. And we went for a walk, and he shot an impala ram, and that ended up being worked, and the two of us sat working the meat last night, getting everything organized. Those experiences count for more than having a room full of trophies for me. I get to live the experiences of so many of my clients and I appreciate the trophies more than my own.
And also you've got a Impala cape as a spare in your storeroom now.
Exactly. That's forward thinking.
It's something that a lot of these people don't think about. If they've got biltong hunters coming through, just cape the animals, cape all the springbok. At least you've got a spare if somebody stuffs up a trophy animals one.
The problem with that is that the skinner with the experience costs money somewhere, and up until recently, the trend was always cut the head off. I'm there for the meat. I'm not there for the trophy. But there has been a huge movement in the South African hunting market to start caping their animals, having shoulder mounts done, actually creating spaces in their home where this is my man cave, this is my space, or these are my kids' trophies. That's his first mount. So the trend it's coming around, and I'd say it's coming around faster than most people realize.
Yeah, it's something. Well, my office here it's one corner is a storeroom, and my computer's on the other side, and I've literally got my setup here, so I've got a pretty clean background for doing these kind of chats. But probably at the end of this month or early in July, my dad and I were going hunting for the first time. I'll tell you about that now. I've only shot one springbok before, and that was when I did my first photo safari up in the Kalahari. The lodge said to me one day, I said to him, well, I've never hunted before. I fish. I love the whole hunting experience. And then one morning, we were about 4 days in, and it was a quiet day. They didn't have anything planned for the clients that day. They said, come, we want to go show you something. Bring your camera with. So I had this feeling that something's up. A bunch of hell of a nice guys. So went out. I was in the back of the bucky, and the guy said, check that springbok ram there. Shoot it. I didn't think twice. I took the rifle and I shot it. There was no two things about it. I'm not going to let this one slip away. So we are planning to go kudu hunting in a little town called Uniondale, where my dad grew up. I was born, and they've got a big problem with the trek kudus coming through there, in the orchards. And we're fortunate enough that it's all family friends of my father said that we can come and cull there as many as we want, or that we can take home.
Fantastic.
So I said to my dad, well, the first day we are there, if we get them on the Lucerne field, I'll shoot one for the freezer, but it's all hills around, and during the day they go up those hills. I said for the rest of the weekend, I'm going to be up there. I want to hunt one. I don't want to shoot one. I want to physically. My dad said, well, if you shoot the thing up there, how are you going to get it down? I said, then we skin it up there and we carry it down.
Fantastic.
But that's what I want. I don't want to shoot it off a bucky or anything. I want to get one for the freezer, and then I want to go actually hunt one if I can.
Well, so here's an idea. Unfortunately, because I know that you're recording this, or it's on the computer, I'm going to be held to it. So if you shoot that, okay, first you're going to make sure that you skin it properly. Then you're going to come down and collect your kudu. Then we're going to mount it, and we'll do a video session on mounting your kudu. All right?
Okay.
And once we've done that, then we'll come back and drop it off with you, and then the two of us can actually get the chance to sit down and talk about the hunt even further with the prop of the kudu behind you. And I think that's a good idea.
And have a Brian a couple of beers at that stage.
You twisted that arm.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to doing that. And again, even if we don't shoot anything, it will just. I'm a big fly fisherman. I don't do bait fishing. There's other people say it's only fly fishermen that will take off a fly that works to put on something that's more difficult to use.
That you don't know if it's going to work.
Correct. So that's it's all about the experience. And when I do my photographic trips as well, I don't sell it as a workshop. I sell it as an experience, because I want the people to walk away there with not going to a school. They must go away having enjoyed themselves.
If you're passionate about fly fishing, you definitely need to head towards us in the Eastern Cape. We have,
yeah, I know all about it.
you know where it is. It's high up in those
Yeah.
it's waiting, and you've got a free pass. It'll get you up there, no problem. So,
Are you talking about trout? Are you talking about trout fishing?
Trout fishing.
That's interesting because there's not a lot of them in the close to PE.
It's not close to PE, but it's close enough, and the experience will leave you dumbstruck. The scenery, everything about it. It is truly spectacular fly fishing.
Do you fly fish?
Yes, very badly. Yes.
Well, my love for fly fishing is saltwater, so I would much rather come and spend some time on the Gamtoes or the Swartkops and chase some skippies or garrick down there.
I tell you what, that Swartkops area is absolutely remarkable, unbelievable. For saltwater, you're not going to find much better.
I shared it yesterday. It was on my Facebook profile, my very first Facebook profile that I posted. I'll show you. See if the camera can focus on this.
You just see it. Put it back in.
Hold on. Let me get it for you here quickly.
Also, you've got a WhatsApp. Send it to me.
Yeah, I'll quickly show it here so everybody else can see it. Let me just quickly find it. I'm just going to share this screen. Probably going to take a second.
There we go. Good grief. Look at that.
That's a 7 kilogram nearfish on fly.
That is spectacular. That must have fought beautifully.
It was an amazing fish. And then where is that? I like the big gnarly stuff.
The ones with attitude.
Yes. I just want to. I don't have a lot of profile pictures. Here's that buffalo we hunted.
Great buff as well, huh?
Yeah, beautiful animal.
Absolutely fantastic.
And that's a Cape snook.
Yeah.
Also on fly.
Also on fly.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Absolutely amazing.
If you love fly fishing, you must go and have a look at some of the guys I've chatted to before. There's some South African guys that's what they do. They fly fish for a living, and the things these guys have done is incredible. Have you seen that BBC Earth one where they filmed the GTs eating the birds in the Seychelles?
Yes, incredible, absolutely amazing.
The one guy I chatted to, he was one of the guys that found that, and he was part of the team that set up the whole filming with BBC eating the birds.
That must have been incredible.
Yeah, these guys they've got videos on their YouTube where they take a plucky that they picked up on the beach and they cut it to the shape of a bird and they tie it to the end of the 12-weight rod and they just chuck it into the channel and you see these GTs hammering that thing.
Awesome. You know, and that's truly an experience. Truly.
Yes. But I think we need to. We're about an hour and 15 minutes, and like I said, we can talk another week on this. You don't do any fish mounts?
We don't. That's, I believe, stick to your knitting. It's a very specific craft, and it's something I've never ventured into. There's some tremendous fish taxidermists around. I love seeing what they do, but I've had no exposure or experience with that to date. If guys do contact us, we send them in a direction and say, these are good guys, that's more or less what you should be paying, and we go on from there.
There was a series of articles, in the, I believe it was still the Hengel magazine. Do you remember the Hengel?
Geez, that's a while back, huh?
Yeah, you had the Stabeliner and you had Hengel magazine as the other one.
It was a long time back. We used to buy Alcock's in Port Elizabeth, the fishing shop down here. They used to stock that. I remember it clearly, years back.
And I think it was in the Hengel magazine. It could either be an old Stabeliner or the Hengel. They had a series of articles on how to mount your own fish. And when I grew up, there was a guy that the guy that introduced me to fly fishing or helped me catch my first bass. He caught like a 2.5 kilogram bass on fly the one day, and he took those articles and he mounted that thing. But those were still done on the old skin mount technique. Right. It wasn't the fiberglass mounts that the guys do now.
It was the fragrant kind of mount that it had a special smell to it.
Yes. And I can't remember how he did it, because he had it laid out in the sand, because you shape it in the sand, and he had to dry the skin in a particular way. But it came out really nice.
It's a lot of work for a short lifespan of trophy, because they don't last.
Yes.
You really get it right. And nowadays the synthetics are so good, they look better than the real thing.
Yeah, often you look at the thing and it looks plasticky. It doesn't look like a real fish.
There's guys out there that have techniques to layer the paint that the colors shimmer through the paint. It's when it's got one or two coats of paint and it's just slapped on that it looks plastic. There's one of the guys I saw doing saltwater fishing. All of his molds, he'd literally coat the whole mold in tinfoil, so that all the paint that he painted on top, when you shone a light through it, it reflected back through the tinfoil. So it was his own technique, but it gave the fish that he did that shimmer. And I just thought it was a brilliant technique. It was really, really clever. But again, that's not my field. Huh?
Yeah, but interesting. Also, I've seen some of these taxidermists, and then the guy has shot one of those really old battled up lions, and he gets it back from the taxidermy. It looks like Simba from the movie.
Yeah. They've spent time with hair extensions.
Yeah, they do, and that's not what the trophy should be. Same with the buffalo. I don't want those pitch black polished horns on an old buffalo if I ever get to shoot one. It must look like the thing came out of the mud right now.
You know what guys don't understand, once you've cleaned and tanned the skin, cleaned the skull and the boss and everything off, they're a pretty bland color, which is, again, where it goes back into photography. It's so important that when you do hunt a great trophy, take the time to take some pictures of your animal in the field. Give that to the taxidermist and say, that's what I want him to look like. Because with paint and technique, we can bring it back to exactly what it looked like in the field, from the mud, the dust, the color in the boss, everything. But you've got to make the effort to take the photographs.
Yeah, that's one of the things that well, I'm as a photographer trying to sell people in why should they take with a professional photographer, videographer on their hunts. Is they're spending a lot of money coming to Africa. They might as well spend a little bit more, but they're taking. Look, they're going to wait 12 months for their trophy to come back. By that time, they've got the video already. They've got the photos that they can show everybody. They can print something up big of the animal in the felt. And also, it's not a cell phone picture. I've seen so many of these outfitters on Instagram showing behind the scenes, and then the PH is there on the ground laying with his cell phone, taking a picture.
That angle.
And then the client says to me, oh, but I want that picture, and he WhatsApps it to him. So immediately you're taking something that you shot at 12 megapixel on a cell phone, you're downscaling it to WhatsApp quality, and then a guy goes and prints it and puts it up as an A1 print in his office, and it just looks crap.
And then when he gets the taxidermy, he says, but my buffalo's not that color. You go, well, yes, it is. But the photo's been color corrected so many times between iPhone, Samsung, Hawaii, and all the rest. By the time he's looking at it, it's not even what it looked like in the field.
Exactly, and that's why when I'm with these guys, I take extra special time to set up, because you can set up the animal and you get the classical one with the horns, clear sky, but I want to to do something more emotional. Like with the last one, I took a bunch of pictures and video clips specifically of details on the animal's horn. I would follow it with the camera. I would follow it up the spiral, and
Yes.
and get like the tips at the top and the feet, those kind of things, which I then incorporate in the video. Which is, I feel those are the kind of things. If you shoot the animal, you're on such a high that you look at these things and you set the animal up, you get the photo done, and everybody's high-fiving, and the buckies there, they pick it up and off they go. You don't look at those things.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's like going to a wedding. How many weddings can you recall where you remember what flowers was on the tables?
I remember where the park was.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, Doug, I think we should wrap this up. Unfortunately,
Fantastic, Dewald.
Yeah, if I do get to shoot a nice bull when we do go, I will let you know about it, and we can definitely make a plan to do something.
And if you're planning a trip down to the Eastern Cape, the other windy city, you live in the one, I live in the other.
Yeah,
please come visit, come take a walk around. We'd love to have you see the place.
It will be awesome. I've got so many trips planned, but to get time and money to go do them all is another story.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I think you're going to find a lot more local travel. So we're anticipating the locals getting the benefit of the quieter tourism and hunting time, I think.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, Doug, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. And if the people are watching this, I hope they get a better insight of why you do what you do and why you get the quality that you will get from you.
Absolutely, yeah. And if there's ever any questions, reach out. Hey, we're always happy to engage and answer and help where we can.
Yeah, we definitely will. We definitely will. Thank you so much again, and have a fantastic day. The cold is on its way to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the time.
On your pleasure. Right.
Yeah.
Cheerio. Bye. Thanks again, Doug. It was wonderful almost hour and a half, and I really appreciate the time. Guys, please click subscribe to the YouTube. Doug has got a wealth of information that he shares on there. All right. Thanks, guys. Keep well. Cheerio.